Before burnout, there is work fatigue. What is work fatigue? Work fatigue is a chronic job stress, usually lasting longer than 6 weeks, and has begun affecting the worker's mentality, the workers mentally, excuse me, emotionally, physically, ethically, and or spiritually. And it often appears before disease fully manifests. These are the symptoms and the signs that we get before a disease happens, when we are going into the doctor for symptoms that are affecting our mental health, our emotional health, our physical health. Something bad happened in the workplace, and now we feel like there's some fear, and we know the right thing to do, but not quite sure how to do it and maintain our way of life. So these are the things that do happen before a disease, a preventable stress related disease, actually manifests. That is why when Black career women and registered nurses present to the doctor with these very real symptoms and still leave feeling dismissed, confused, gaslit, or unseen, the issue isn't always that the doctor ignored them. Doctors are positioned to diagnose, treat, and do disease management. Disease hasn't fully manifested yet. There are signs and symptoms that you are experiencing of an impending disease. Nothing for the doctor to treat there, right? The Workforce Care Center is designed for prevention, for assessment, system navigation, and work context before stress becomes disease, before stress becomes a crisis, before stress causes workforce loss. So I am Glenay. I am the founder and CEO at Glenay's RX for Life, where we specialize in career burnout consultancy and workplace healthcare education. We specialize in workplace mental health. Here at our Workforce Care Center, we help Black career women and nurses who are taking FMLA to navigate the system. We have realized over the past 10 years that FMLA is the entry point for a lot of our nation's workers who get kind of lost in the system and never seem to make it back to work. So we're here to intervene at that level using the nursing process. So today we're talking about FMLA approved, ADA requested. Now HR is acting funny or different. I don't know. Acting funny. I like acting funny. Would you like acting differently or acting funny? Currently, if you are taking FMLA, you may fall into one or three categories. And so I'm just going to read these categories so that I don't miss a beat for you. Currently, you may fall into one or three categories. Number one, you are experiencing work fatigue. Symptoms are very real. You tell your doctor, he or she listens to your chief complaint, which means that you went into the doctor and your chief complaint was stomach ache, backache, headache, whatever the case may be, whatever ache that you're experiencing. And you need some time off work. Your FMLA papers are signed and you're off for 12 weeks. Category number two, currently experiencing work fatigue. You desire to use FMLA intermittently. You have some knowledge about what's going on in the workplace, and you just don't want to deal with it as much as you're dealing with it. And so you use it by telling yourself that this is your way that you're setting healthy boundaries in the workplace. You are organizing your availability and protecting your mental health, your physical health. You are attending to your own serious health condition. That is what your intermittent FMLA can be for. Number three, work fatigue has lasted so long that you are in an exhausted phase. You have so much going on. You don't even understand or cannot begin to understand where the injury, the harm may have occurred. You are unsure what happened. You just know that you are living under a dark cloud, going through the motions, scared to say or do anything. So you reach into your purse and you pull out your health insurance card and you call the mental health service number on the back of your card. You first go to employee assistance program, and whatever your situation is, you're not better in 3 days. And so then you are diagnosed because these people are contracted with your employer. They are also your employer's employee. So, and they're not doing this work for free. Assigning a mental illness diagnosis like clinical depression to you is an economic incentive for them. It can harm you economically if you're not careful. If you're not careful, you call the EAP, your problem's not resolved in 3 days, you're now diagnosed and referred off to a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner or a psychiatrist or someone, who can do psychotherapy and also do medication management with you. You're so overwhelmed. You're so in an abyss. You're so turned around. You don't know what's going on. You're just happy to finally get a diagnosis and a prescription because it makes you feel someone sees me, someone understands me. And taking the medication and having a weekly 45-minute session with your provider gives you something to do, something to look forward to. It gives you a plan that you can have a hope with, okay? You take off the 12 weeks. You're hopeful to recover. You take off for your 12 weeks. You've done everything that you have been asked. Like I said, the weekly 45-minute appointments, the psychiatric medication samples. You have more samples in your medicine cabinet than you know what to do with. Now, now you're numb because the medication is beginning to work, lessening your cares, right? It's part of how this medication works. Um, but you now need to manage side effects. You haven't really gotten into the groove of how these medications work. You've probably within 12 weeks have already tried 2 or 3 different types of SSRIs or SNRIs, along with maybe even an antipsychotic, depending on the information that you gave to your psychiatrist about what you're experiencing and what he or she kind of checked off for your symptom analysis and differential diagnoses. So you're managing numbness, you're managing side effects, and now it's time to return to work. You tell your doctor that you don't think that you're ready, but then they're like, oh, you can qualify for an ADA accommodation. But can you? A lot of these employers are not even doing an interactive process, but that's for a whole different video. Workers are experiencing work fatigue. Workers who are experiencing work fatigue may be exposed to environmental risk that is, sorry, I can't even read my own handwriting. Environmental risk, occupational threats requiring assessments prior to even seeing the doctor. So when you, prior to even seeing the doctor, are right there where you have decided that you're going to take FMLA, you deserve an opportunity to do an assessment of the work environment so that you are not the one being medically diagnosed and medically treated for physiological and psychological normal responses to harms and threats in the workplace. This is what we call work fatigue, caused by chronic job stress that lasts longer than 6 weeks, evidenced by symptoms of exhaustion, thoughts of people coming against you. Somebody could say that that's delusional, but sometimes you can tell when people are acting funny. I wouldn't dismiss that as nothing. I mean, for those of us who are Christians, God literally tells us that He will tell us what they are talking about. So you sometimes you got to pay attention to your spiritual side of things so that you can move in the right direction. Your job is not to convince anyone what your God is telling you. Your job is to move in the way of what He is saying to you. So I wouldn't dismiss you noticing people acting funny in the workplace. I wouldn't dismiss that at all. I wouldn't harp on it and I wouldn't try to explain it to a psychiatrist because the things they would have done to Jesus himself. Come on now, stop. Quit telling everybody, quit running and telling everybody what your Father in heaven is telling you, okay? You just need to act on it. You need to be obedient to it. So, you said that work fatigue caused by chronic stress, evidenced by symptoms of an impending disease. So, when you go to the doctor with these chief complaints that you are experiencing, but sometimes they don't even see a disease manifestation yet. It's because you're in that moment where you can make life saving, career trajectory changing decisions that will advance you past your stressor, past the stress challenge. If you do what you're supposed to do in the workplace. We can help you do this by planning, implementing, and doing interventions at a systemic level that can help improve your time off work. Employees return bad, they rest better, which is what you need. You need to rest better. You get clear on what's happening to you or through you. You return to work better, whether or not that's the same position or if you request an accommodation into a new position. And some can even exit the organization in good standing. Others can file administrative complaints once you return to work. Because working with professional nurses who specialize in workplace mental health can prevent workforce loss, prevent disability, reduces depression disorders, and preventable stress related diseases. Workers return to work healthier and happier and empowered without a new onset of disease that need to be medically managed. So if when you know your level of work fatigue, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, ethical, and even spiritual, you can plan your next move better. For instance, say that you are dealing with workplace discrimination. You may want to use your FMLA because you've been getting beat up. Discrimination is a fight against you. You just been getting it, knocking. They've been knocking you left and right. If you're in the boxing ring, you don't want to take a knee, but you do want to take time out. You want to get to your corner. You want to get somebody, getting your shoulders and getting you to looking, at your opponent's weaknesses. They're getting tired on this end and help you build your way in truth so that you can overcome the situation. And the only way you can do that is if you take a step back so that you can see exactly what's taking place. So, using FMLA for this serious health condition to better understand your workplace risk and change your mindset from being personally attacked to being business mindset, equity mindset, kingdom mindset. So workers, some workers are so afraid of losing everything that they've worked so hard for that they forget that there is a spiritual aspect to this, and that you really cannot lose no good thing when you do things in righteousness, right? So some workers are scared and they have no direction and they're just doing things haphazardly. They take FMLA, then they write a love letter to their employer. I call it a Dear John letter. I've seen many of them and I'm just I'm just like, you wrote this to them? Like y'all in an intimate relationship. Employment is business, lady. Mm-mm. So you don't want to communicate based on your feelings. You want to communicate based on your facts and your spiritual leadership, okay? Those employees then make the biggest mistake of their life. They write these letters to their employers. They're off on FMLA, and in their mind, they're thinking, "Oh, I can't be fired." But baby, they did keeping record about you for a very long time, and you've never complained about any discrimination. You've never filed an administrative complaint. You never went to the EEOC. You never went to your employer's EEO. Nothing. You probably didn't even tell your doctor you were dealing with workplace issues because they actually don't even want to hear it. All they wanted to hear is the symptoms. So you have no case. And your discrimination case actually works a lot better when you on campus, when you on grounds, when boots are on the ground in the facility. Other than that, now you're fired without recourse. And we want to prevent a lot of these things from happening to gainfully employed men and women who are dealing with issues in the workplace. You don't want to lose your case before your trial even begins. So if you are dealing with workplace issues and your work fatigue and chronic job stress is lasting you longer than 6 weeks, please do not be shy. Take our work fatigue quiz. That is how you can engage with me. We will go over what your results are and point you in the right direction. That is absolutely free. Comment work fatigue, and I will send you the link, or just go to the website, glenaysrxforlife.com, and it's an email actually. So you'll click on the link and you will email me, and the quiz link will come to you. Okay, bye.